You may well have never heard of the names Robert Leroy Parker or Harry Longabar before, but you've surely heard about their infamous aliases, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. Today we're going to be questioning the official story of their alleged demise in South America after a shootout with Bolivian police in 1908. But before we do that, we're going to have to go back in time a little bit. Let's go back to New York City in 1901. After years of well-planned and mostly well-executed robberies, the Pinkerton Detective Agency, who were the 19th century equivalent of the FBI and the CIA combined, were gaining rapidly on the Wild Bunch, the gang which was led by Butch and Sundance. Being the brains of the gang, Cassidy knew that their time was limited, and if they were to evade capture, they must leave the United States at the earliest opportunity. Both Butch and Sundance, along with Etta Place, the girlfriend of Sundance, set sail for South America from New York City in 1901. Butch and Sundance spent time in Argentina and Venezuela before allegedly meeting their demise in Bolivia. Now, by the time they arrive in Bolivia, Etta Place had left the picture. Nobody knows for sure what happened to her. Some say she was killed during a getaway, having taken part in a hold-up with Butch and Sundance. Others say she returned to the United States. But whoever the two gringos were, they were alone for their shootout with the Bolivian police. And that's the key phrase to examine here. The report was not that Butch and Sundance specifically were in San Vicente, but simply that two armed gringos had been spotted in San Vicente. Butch and Sundance weren't the only two Anglos in South America. It was extremely common for those on the run from the law to find solace in places like Mexico, for example. In 1991, a team of archaeologists travelled to Bolivia to excavate the alleged remains of Butch and Sundance for DNA testing. What they discovered were not the bones of either Butch or Sundance, but instead remains belonging to a German miner by the name of Gustav Zimmer. But interestingly enough, when they were examining the skull of Gustav Zimmer, there was a bullet wound in the centre of the forehead that was consistent with the police report of how Sundance had died. According to the official report, a handful of Bolivian lawmen had the two bandits cornered in a small building. A shootout took place, and when the shooting stopped, the lawmen were too nervous to enter the building. As it was pitch dark, they waited until daybreak before checking the scene. As they entered the building the following morning, they found the two gringos dead on the floor. The man they believed to be Cassidy had sustained a fatal bullet wound to the temple, while the man they believed to be Sundance had sustained a fatal bullet wound to the forehead. Their conclusion was that when the two outlaws realised there was no way out, one shot the other in the head before turning the gun on himself. So with that said, it's completely possible that Gustav Zimmer was buried by the police who 100% believed him to be Harry Longabar, aka the Sundance Kid. Even William Pinkerton, the son of Alan Pinkerton who founded the detective agency, was extremely skeptical of the official story. As a result, the Pinkertons kept the file open on Butch and Sundance, and in their eyes, no pun intended, it remained an ongoing investigation until 1921. In 1975, the sister of Butch Cassidy, Lula Cassidy, published a book to set the record straight about her brother and correct the inaccuracies in popular culture. One of her claims was that Butch Cassidy returned to his hometown in 1925 to visit his family, and according to her, he lived the rest of his life as a free man. To sum up, there's no hard evidence that the outlaws were killed in San Vicente, Bolivia. But there's no hard evidence to say that they weren't either. And even though the case is officially closed, unless the remains of Butch and Sundance are discovered, the true fate of the outlaws will remain a tantalising mystery. Anyway, what do you think? What's your conclusion on the situation? Leave your opinions in the comments. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are. And if you like the way I tell stories, help me out by giving the video a like. With all that said, thanks for watching Loose Cannon TV, and we'll see you next time.